Everybody, welcome back. Today I'm basically going to do a Q&A of me and my channel, and some of it's going to be about Pixel World, some of it's going to be about me, but I just recently became a YouTube partner as well as a Twitch affiliate, so I think this would be an alright time to sort of talk about this. So the first question is from Allure Mamutaj. He says, for Q&A, what was your dream item when you first began? So when I first started, my dream item was the Frost Cape. Around then, I think it was 30 World Locks, and I did end up getting it. It was pretty cool, but that was my pretty much dream item. Okay, so a lot of people ask, basically, how'd you come up with the name Games12, and what does the 12 have to do with it? So, there's really no rhyme or reason to what my name was. I think when I started the game, this is probably on my channel somewhere, I just kind of thought Games would be a cool name. It was taken, so I just took Games12 because I thought it had a good ring to it or whatever. It wasn't because I was 12 years old when I made it. I was actually 11 when I made the name. But yeah, there's really no rhyme or reason to it. It doesn't mean anything. Daisy Sue 98 says, any advice for someone who may want to start a channel / start streaming? So I think my main advice, which I've seen from a lot of other YouTubers they mention, especially ones that upload daily, is consistent content is always key. If you're going to start streaming, it needs to be consistent streaming. If you're going to start making YouTube videos, it's got to be consistent. I've seen so many Pixel Worlds YouTubers especially try and fail because they just stop making content or they slow down on the content, and I think that's a big issue that a lot of the content creators have, is that they just stop making it. I've tried my best to make videos semi-daily. Sometimes I'm at my cabin on the weekends and I just don't have enough ideas to make, a bunch of scheduled videos before, but I try to make as much consistent content as I could. Just to help you out here, when before I started making consistent content, which was 2 months ago, I had 250 subscribers. This was because of my Lego videos that got featured a few times. And when I started, I had a couple ideas, and then I started making consistent content. Now I have 1,300 subscribers 2 months later. So it's just something to think about. If you do want to start and, you want to really thrive, I think daily uploads is super, super, super beneficial for sure. And also about the streaming thing, if you build up at least a little bit of a small audience on YouTube and then tell them to go subscribe to your Twitch or follow your Twitch, you can get a lot of people that from your channel, which is a really good lifting point into your Twitch for sure. A lot of people also asked, how old are you? So in game, I'm 1,256 days, I believe. I actually started the game back when it just released in my country, America, and in real life, I'm 15 years old at the time of this recording. So Potato Warrior says, profit-wise, do you like summer or Halloween better? For me, it's summer. I think it's just much easier to get profit, especially with, how accessible ice cream cones are. Anybody can go to an ice cream world and start breaking. And since I think ice creams are only about, they're never more than 20 per world lock, it's really easy to make profit for new players. Halloween, it's a bit of a give and take. If you're bad at parkour and you're on mobile, it's pretty tough to make profit. Especially considering that it's not super common, obviously, to get the legendaries or even the ultra rares. So spending a lot of gems, in my opinion, is just for fun. I would never try to actually do Halloween Tower for profit. It's just not worth it for me. But I think summer is super, super beneficial for profit. Everybody should definitely go try to sell their ice creams, especially in the beginning, because if you think about it this way, if you actually sell your ice creams first, and then finish the quest line later when they're worth a lot less because everybody's already done their quest line, you can make a bunch of profit both ways, because you get to have cheap summer quest items and you get to have a bunch of world locks from selling your ice creams in the beginning, so it's a win-win. So KillPeepsBW and I believe in a few other people said, how'd you first find Pixel Worlds? So this is actually a pretty interesting question. I used to play Rotopia, I think, since 2016 to around 2017, maybe 2015 as well, and I liked it a lot, but I started getting scammed more, didn't really know how to profit. The updates kind of lost me. I just wasn't, I felt totally out of the loop, so I kind of quit the game. early or very, very late 2016, I heard about Pixel Worlds, and back then I was 11 years old. I didn't really understand how sorry, APKs work. And the reason I found out about it was actually from my cousin Noah, which is Sparked Pro on Instagram. I don't know if you guys have seen him, but he actually told me about the game, and I was super excited about it. I thought the art style was fantastic. I was really happy with the direction their community manager was taking with the live streams and everything. It was great. And I've always fell in love with Pixel Worlds after that. I do actually like it significantly better than Growtopia, especially because of the art style. I think it's much better, but that's just my opinion. But that's how I first found out about it. My cousin told me about it. So DangalPW says, what editing software do you use? I used to use Sony Vegas 15, now I use 16. I've been told that HitFilm is actually a really good place to start for people. I think my cousin Noah uses that, or well, he uses Sony Vegas now, he used to use that. There's a few mobile editing apps that are really great for basic Pixel Worlds content. I think commentary is probably easier to edit on Sony Vegas, at least in my opinion. But yeah, it's pretty simple. I just use Sony Vegas. So Marty RS says, is there any big project that you have in mind for the channel? I'm not really sure. I don't think there's any big project. I know I have quite a few ideas for videos upcoming, but there's not really anything big. I was thinking about making some sort of, I don't know, comedy parody song of Pixel Worlds. I don't know, but I just I never fell through with it. I think it wouldn't be worth it for me to even do that at all. I don't know, that would be funny, but I don't really have any big project in mind, even for Pixel Worlds. I think I might make content for a couple games. It depends on if I make stream highlights. On my stream, I've been playing Hexit, Hyperscape, which is a new battle royale by Ubisoft, and a couple other things. So I was thinking about making stream highlights at some point. I'm not really sure how to make them, so I guess the biggest thing for my channel that could be upcoming is just stream highlights that would be on my channel, potentially. So Carlos Boss PW says, what's your best way to profit in the game? Pretty much just fishing. I hardly ever really profit in the game. The only way I really go from 0 to something is just in gems, in terms of gems, not really world locks. So I think fishing's pretty easy. You can just watch YouTube and fish, get a bunch of gems, and spend it on whatever you want, building worlds, etc. Yeah, I think fishing's probably just my favorite way to profit. I've never been really good at trading. I know friends that can turn a profit within minutes, and I go underpay in a trade world for 3 hours and still can't sell an item, so it just depends on timing and all that, and I'm just not that great at that. But yeah, fishing's definitely my favorite profit way. So Fleekaz says, how'd you find the game? Pixel Worlds, already touched on that, but also he says, what's your favorite part about Pixel Worlds? My favorite part about Pixel Worlds, as opposed to other games, is just the community part. I mean, there's so much communication in this game, as opposed to pretty much any other game, obviously besides games like Growtopia, right? But what I'm trying to say is that there's just so much communication between people. It's the community, it's the conversations you have, in a game like Fortnite, yeah, sure, there's voice chat, but it's just very, very different. Even in Brawl Stars, you're not going to be talking to your teammates or anything. In Pixel Worlds, it's all about, communication, trading. A big part of trading is obviously communication, all of that, and that's really, really fun. And especially friends that you meet along the way, that kind of stuff is just super, super interesting. And prior to playing Growtopia and Pixel Worlds, I'd never found that, and it really, really interests me, especially in, this kind of art style and this kind of concept for a game. Okay, so many asked me, when am I going to do a face reveal? I don't think face reveal is a big deal. I'll do it at some point. It's not really a priority for me at this point. I might just do it as a small video, but I don't really care, at this point. I just am not really into, webcam content at this point in time. I may do it in the future, depending on where my content goes. If it's going to be mostly commentary, it honestly depends. But, like I'm saying, at this point, it just doesn't seem that makes really very much sense to do a face reveal, I guess. So Martin Tillman has a very interesting question. He says, how do you have so many standard Lego bricks? They very rarely produce these basic bricks anymore. I mean, the bricks have even been very rare colored, such as the turquoise blue style bricks that you used in your Lego Commander K. It is just very mysterious yet awesome to see the flat art style Lego creations nowadays. Lego has moved on to many different shapes of bricks nowadays, and the classic 2x2s and 2x4s have been quite rare. Well, yes, they often use these kinds of bricks in LEGO Minecraft sets. You would need a huge quantities of these sets. So the main reason behind this, and I also told him this in the DM, is that my dad actually used to have a lot of the classic sets, you know, the LEGO castles, all of those kind of things. And classic LEGO often use these 2x2s and 2x4s. So we just had so many already that I mean, even most of my Lego sets are fully built. I don't really take apart my Lego sets, just because in the first place it doesn't require hardly any bricks, because like you say, new sets just don't have these kind of bricks. So I just use the classic Lego bricks that my dad actually collected, and we have just such an influx of them that it's actually absolutely fantastic. I actually do have a couple Minecraft sets, so I do get those from there as well. And I think I got a few Lego Classic bins, which basically are just bins that come with a collection of these basic bricks as well in varying colors, which is great. Surprisingly, a couple of times I actually ordered some bricks from, I think it's called Bricklink online, which was pretty good. That's how I built myself in Lego, but I never made a video on that. So yeah, that's basically why. So Minticax says, what is your favorite summer event item? Might be a little cliche, but honestly, my favorite summer event item is the Pro Water Gun. It's just so awesome. That 3 range, I think it looks really well as well. Nice colors, nice design. If you're talking about this year, I think the waterfall dress, surprisingly, is my favorite. I think just the animation itself is super unique. I don't think we've ever seen anything like it. And I think it even is just such a great item, especially for just being free pretty much in the summer quest. I think it's just a super great item. But yeah, that's about it. Underling PW says, how to be pro in parkour? You're asking the wrong person. If you've seen any of my videos, it's a pretty clear indication that I'm not that great at parkour. I'm sure that practicing Tower of God can get you vastly better in parkour, though. It has so many different levels, and I honestly thank Washibushi. He honestly kind of, you know, a lot of people give him crap because he buys so many parkour worlds, but I think it's awesome, actually. I think it's really cool that, you know, in one world you can practice so many different levels of parkour and so many different jumps that you can practice, especially in this game. And coming from Growtopia, a lot of people, you know, it's different gravity, it's different traps, and I think the Tower of God really helps people learn that. So if you are trying to be pro in parkour, I definitely recommend the world Tower of God. So this person says, have you ever got scammed by someone in real life or game? I don't think I've ever got scammed in Pixel Worlds. I think maybe 3 years ago I got scammed my katana, if I remember. But other than that, I've never really got scammed. Have I got underpaid? Surely, yeah, I've got underpaid quite a few times, but those times were just desperate. I wouldn't call it specifically a scam. In real life, have I ever got scammed? Not really. I don't think I've ever got scammed in real life. So this person says, who decides Pixel World's economics, as in deciding the price of an item? This is pretty simple. The community does. As a whole, it's eventually decided, like, some person will say 15, for example, some person will say 12, some person will say 15, 16, 14, 13, and eventually it'll boil down to some range of a price, so that at some point someone will know the general price of an item. And, you know, pretty much a week after a item is released into the game, it's pretty well decided what the price is, and then it usually if an item is permanent in the game too, it trickles down in price slowly. I don't think it ever really rises unless it's hoarded, which you can't really hoard a permanent item, I don't think. And limited items usually only go up unless they're hoarded and released back into the game, I think. So that's pretty much how the Pixel World's economy works. So Draki Plays say, what state do you live in the USA? Also, shout out me because I quit PW. Shout out, I guess. I live in Florida currently. Linton PW says, what do you think of hoarding? Honestly, I don't think it's that bad as people make it out to be. It takes a lot of balls to actually hoard an item, especially considering that it could drop at any moment, and you could lose all your world locks, but I do think it could also be considered a fast track to a lot of world locks, because due to the small community in the game, when those items were released, there just wasn't that many. That's why hoarding daily bonus items, Halloween legendaries, daily, other stuff like that, it's just really, really easy to hoard because there's not that many in the game to keep track of. So I think that's why it's interesting. I think hoarding is very, very, very interesting. I don't think you see hoarding that much in Growtopia because of the big player base, but in Pixel Worlds you definitely do see a ton of hoarding. It happens all the time, and that's mainly why I like to cover it in my news video. It's like, well, I don't think hoarding is, the best thing in the game, and that's why I cover it, because hoarding can be seen as deceiving because, items are being hoarded and you don't know. It's kind of like your items being hoarded behind your back. So I kind of basically tell people what items are being hoarded so that it's obvious, because other than, deception, I think hoarding isn't that big of a deal, other than deception, obviously. _Lurzo_PW says, what's your final sub goal? I don't think I really have a final sub goal. It would be cool to just keep growing as long as I possibly can. That'd be pretty interesting. But I think what my sub goal currently is to just get or pass 2,000 subscribers. When I was in middle school, I told people I had a YouTube channel, and they're like, oh, well, did you know that someone has a YouTube channel in this school with 2,000 subscribers? And it just kind of, irked me. I've always been thinking about that, but I'm not super greedy, or at least I'd like to think I'm not super greedy in terms of subscribers or views or anything. Obviously, I don't make my videos 10 minutes. It's just not a big deal to me, at least at this moment in time. Mutmix says, what's your favorite drink and food? My favorite drink is probably Dr. Pepper, and my food for the longest time was buttered noodles, which is pretty unhealthy. It's basically just noodles with some butter and seasoning, pretty much how it sounds. Yeah, that's about it. I think most people had the same question, which I answered earlier, but MenTBW says, how did you start Pixel Worlds? So I'm gonna take this as a slightly different question than where did I find Pixel Worlds. So I basically started Pixel Worlds as trying to kind of make a recipe wikia, because I didn't realize that the world recipes existed already. So I was making a recipe wikia and kind of keeping track of it before, the recipe book was ever made, so I could kind of know what to crossbreed. As well as that, I basically just tried to farm BBB until I could save up enough gems to buy a world lock, and I would kind of make a little bit of profit since then, but I've never been really good with trade profit, so that didn't really work out very well. But I think my first world that I ever did anything in was called WVN, I believe. So FXHKS says, how'd you learn to edit, and what's the luckiest thing that happened to you in Pixel Worlds? So I learned to edit basically from a YouTuber named Casual Savage. He does content, I think, on Sony Vegas 16 and other Sony Vegas versions. I don't know if he does it on other editing programs, but I know for sure he does it on Sony Vegas. So I learned the most basic things from him, as well as another couple complicated edits, but from there, once you learn the basics of Sony Vegas, you can pretty much edit anything. It's not that difficult. I think maybe masking is kind of the hardest thing to do. I think masking and, key pointing or something like that, keyframing, I think those are the two most important things you need to worry about in Sony Vegas. But other than that, yeah, just Casual Savage was the best teacher for me, those YouTube videos. And the luckiest thing that happened to me in Pixel Worlds was probably getting a Nether Shard the second the Nether Shard released into the game. I mean, the day after the Nether Shard released, I was opening shard boosters, and I just got it right there. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, that's it. So Jovan says, basically, where are you from? So I actually used to live in Minnesota, and yeah, just a couple years ago, I moved to Florida, basically. Next, DaisySue98 says, what made you decide to start a YouTube channel and start streaming? When basically I've always been super interested in YouTube, and it's always been one of my favorite things to watch and do. Back in, I think, 2015, I made a video called Pro Bike Tricks with my friend John Michael. He was pretty much the, me and him made the first video on my channel, and I think that was the first video I ever really made. I made a couple IRL videos after that, as well as some other gaming videos, but then when I was little, I deleted all of them, and I wish I would have just privated them instead, but yeah, those are deleted. And then after that, I started making stop motion, and I've just had a lot of fun. I think the main thing that made me decide to start doing it is just to sort of almost keep a history of stuff I've been doing, in a sense, as well as it's just been sort of fun to see reactions, and I think comments is always super fun, just to see what other people think about something, or support. It's just I think that sort of motivation that got me to do it now, and even to start as well. Finally, DaisySue98 says, what's your favorite game to play besides Pixel Worlds? I mean, this may seem like I don't know, quote-unquote mainstream answer to say, or something like that, but honestly, it's Fortnite. I mean, I've been playing Fortnite for ever since Season 2. It's been one of my favorite games to play. It's not about, the enticement of FOMO or anything like that. It's just that I've always enjoyed how dedicated the team is to, obviously they like money, but I'm saying, like, I like how dedicated the team is to the map and their cosmetic system, and all their updates and communication, and it's been pretty good game, and at least in my opinion. Pretty much all of my friends have stopped playing it, except for a couple, I think, and I like playing it with my cousins. It's pretty fun. I think the number one thing I want to say to everybody who says Fortnite's dead, Fortnite sucks, people play what they want to play. You can't really knock them off for that. If someone enjoys something, don't put them down for enjoying it, unless it's, I don't know, pedophilia or something. That's obviously like really shitty, but you know what I mean, right? And I feel like that applies to Fortnite. So many people are like, ooh, Fortnite's dead, Fortnite sucks, I hate Fortnite, Fortnite's for 5-year-olds, Fortnite's cringe, and it's like, well, just let people play what they want to play. What affects you for them playing or them enjoying it, right? Except for you giving them money, I guess, which would probably be something that someone who hates Fortnite doesn't want to happen. But, I mean, I just think it's a good concept. I think the fact that they brought building into the Battle Royale genre so early was something super interesting. Even Battle Royales today, Hyperscape, it's just another Battle Royale. We already had H1Z1, PUBG, Apex Legends, Warzone that were pretty much all the same Battle Royale. I mean, I don't want to generalize it, but building makes Fortnite so incredibly different of a Battle Royale. It's an entirely different concept almost, because of the fact that, when someone shoots at you, you don't like have to run for cover. You build, or you even more so engage them once they start shooting at you. So it's almost an entirely different dynamic, especially since there's constant updates and a lot of different weapons as opposed to other games as well. And I'm sorry for going on about this for so long, but yeah, I think I'm just a fan of, alongside Pixel Worlds, just Fortnite. Other games, obviously, I'm a super big fan of Minecraft, I'm a super big fan of Terraria. I haven't actually ever played Undertale or Five Nights at Freddy's, but I've been a super big fan of both of those games. And yeah, honestly, that's about it. But thank you guys so much for watching the Q&A. I thank you for your questions as well. Leave in the comments below what kind of content you'd actually like to see from me, if any, or videos you'd like me to research or make, because I have got a few requests recently, and I am trying to recreate my timeline of videos. I think consistent weekly videos might be screwing up my channel a little bit, so I'm going to try to stray further from consistency and maybe release those a little bit less on my channel. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.